Good afternoon. My name is Jorik. I'm a student at the University of Antwerp. I'm not a technical student. I study applied economics, and I just witnessed the guys before talking about CQL. Must admit, I don't understand a word of it. But I'm here to talk about something else. It's a small problem that we all face, being writing a thesis or a scription or something like this. So I'm part of an initiative called the U-Crew. So we're giving trainings on campus to students. And it are productivity trainings in a way that we teach students tips and tricks to be more effective in what they're doing. So what I'm talking about today is writing thesis, scriptions, etc., etc. Now, a problem that I often face is I'm traveling a lot. So I spend a lot of time on the train, I'm studying in the library, I'm sometimes at work, sometimes at my girlfriend's place, so I move a lot. So in order for me to keep track of all my files, I'm using the SkyDrive, which is the free cloud solution of Microsoft, which allows me to share, store, and collaborate online with my colleagues, etc., etc. So I just pinned this website here. I'm not going to talk about this all too long. So as you can see, it has more or less the look and feel of what you're used to in Internet Explorer. And the interesting part here is that I can open my files, and I can choose here whether I want to open them in Word or edit them in my browser. So just for the sake, I'm going to open them in Word, just to give you a small look at the difference. So as this is completely integrated, so the SkyDrive is completely integrated within Word, I can save files automatically from Word, can open them in Word, etc., etc. So here you see part of my bachelor scription. I wrote it a couple of years ago. And as you can see here, I still have some work on this file. I still need to add a list of tables, etc., etc. And we all know that after you worked a long time writing your scription or your assignment, it's kind of an annoying job to start editing, to start doing the format, etc. So what I'm going to talk about today is how you can do this in a more effective way. So first of all, let's talk tables. So I have a couple of tables in my work. So here they go. And usually what I do is I just insert them as a table, and I just give them a name. Now, of course, at the end, as it's a scientific assignment, you need to make a list of all the tables that you have in your work, which might be a little bit annoying, because if I'm changing pages with stuff, then I have to edit the numbers afterwards. So there's a way to do this automatically as well. So let me just go here to the Reference tab. And here I can say, OK, I want to insert a caption. I can do this with tables, I can do this with pictures, whatever. So I can insert a caption here, and I can label it. So here you have figure, and what I'm going to select is table. Then up here, I can insert a name. So in this case, I will name it rotation system. Press OK, and I get the title once more. So what I'm quickly going to do is I'm going to give it the same format as the other one. I'm going to delete this. So you might say, OK, basically you've done the same thing, which is true. But what makes it easy for me now, if I go up and imagine I'm writing my thesis and I have lots of tables in my thesis, then I can just say, OK, once again, go back to the reference folder and insert a table of figures. And I can do this once more for tables. I can do this for images, etc. And here I have some customization options, so I can change how it looks. The look and feel is completely customizable. So if I click on the tab, I can immediately get a list of the tables that I have in my document. So as I said before, I only have a couple here, but if you're working on a long scription, like 300-400 pages, this is a very nice feature which allows you to keep track of your tables. Even if you're inserting pages, even if you're deleting pages, the numbers will automatically be updated. So that's the first nice feature which comes in handy when writing whatever type of scription. Now, next to this, and this is something that I personally struggled a lot with, is a bibliography. So for me, how I used to do this is, once again, I will go back to my SkyDrive. I was keeping a separate file. So all my sources that I used in my scription, I was keeping them aside. And you know that you have these standards that you need to use. So each time I needed to write them down, make sure the format was okay, make sure I didn't overlook things, etc., etc. Especially when you're working from a lot of different places, this is kind of difficult, because even if I'm at work, for example, I'm using a source, I have to write it down on a piece of paper, go back home, put it on the computer. So SkyDrive already helped me a lot with this, because I can access my files from anywhere. Even if I don't have Office 2010 on my computer, I can easily say, okay, I want to edit this file in a browser, which will open a web app and allow me to edit the file directly from the browser instead of using it through a client app on my computer. And as you can see here, Microsoft really did a nice job into making the look and feel kind of similar to what you're used to in the app. So what you can see on the left side is that I have Microsoft Word. On the right side, I have the client app. So once again, I have the ribbon here, and I have all the customization options that I would expect from Word on the web apps. So as I can say, so as I said before, here you have the bibliography. So what I was doing every time is I was writing a piece of text, and then I was adding a source to it and keeping track of this in a separate file, which you can see here on the right. Not a very nice way of doing things, especially when you start getting things mixed up and you forget something, and in the end it's complete mess. But you can easily solve this once again with the feature in Word, which keeps tracks of your sources as you're writing your scription. So let's say that I just written this paragraph. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the Insert Citation button here, and I'm going to add a new source. And what I get here is a pop-up screen, which allows me to, one, choose which type of source I'm using. So I can say, okay, I want to take a journal article, I want to take a website, these type of things, as well as a book. So in this case, the source came from a book. I have some basic fields that I can complete, but sometimes if I want to do more, I can click the Show All Bibliography fields, and I will get a complete list of all the fields that I can use. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to insert the author here, which in this case is JP. There we go. The title was How Friends Intended to Meet All Those EU Presidency Expectations. And what I'm going to do is like simply fill out all the fields that I used, but just once. Don't have to do it again afterwards. And it's what written in. There you go. So if I press OK, you're going to see that my source is added immediately at the back of my paragraph. You might say, OK, you just did the same type of work, only a bit bigger. Well, actually, this is not the case, because afterwards, if I want to reuse the source again, so let's say the next paragraph I also use this source, I can once again very easily select out of a list the sources that I used before. So what I can say here, okay, this was also used by Joël, this one as well. So I can just simply click and add sources wherever they're applicable. So instead of doing it every time, I only have to insert a source at once, and it will always come back throughout the work that I'm writing. And as I'm writing the entire work, I also have an easy way to keep track of which sources I'm using for which paragraph. Now, the interesting part comes at the end, where you usually have your work finished and you have to spend hours making this bibliography or copy-pasting it out of other file that you used before. Instead of doing this, I can simply say, OK, here I want to insert a bibliography by simply, once again, in the Reference tab, clicking on this bibliography button. And Word is going to do this for me. So I discovered this feature after I wrote my thesis, or after I wrote my bachelor paper. And seeing how it worked, it really amazed me. Like, okay, I could have done this job in like 1 hour, like throughout doing the bachelor scription, instead of puzzling for hours after I finally finished it. Very easy as well is here I can change all the style options. So depending on your school, they might request another typography. So my school, for example, uses the APA settings. And I can easily, in the Home tab, go and play with the formatting, so I can make sure that everything is nicely aligned, and that, for example, I have it on a 2-point scale interline. So this is very quickly how you can how you can work with these features. I hope they come in handy, because as all of us, we one day have to write these documents and these theses and whatever. So those were my small 10 minutes. And yeah, I would say good luck in writing your scription.